Hello everyone, Simon here with a review of Megaquarium. Megaquarium is the latest Tycoon style game that has come out for PlayStation 4, which is the version you're seeing on your screen, as well as Nintendo Switch and I believe Xbox One today. It was previously released on PC last year, and I did pick up a copy of it actually from my own dosh, but I struggled to get any gameplay footage to be recorded with it. So I was really delighted that the developer reached out and said, here, have a PS4 copy so you can make your review, and that's really helpful because that's been able to let me do this for you today. Megaquarium is a tycoon-based game around building aquariums, looking after the aquatic life, and keeping the guests happy that enter, all while staying profitable. You'll initially have a 10-level kind of learn the game style campaign, where each level will introduce different game mechanics to keep you on your toes and expand the depth that Megaquarium provides. These will be available across 4 different difficulties, and the real challenge with Megaquarium isn't necessarily the learning game mechanics of the campaign, because if you choose easy or normal difficulties, you won't run into too many issues if you're vigilant. However, as you get onto the harder difficulties, money woes start to creep in, and you'll have to really budget and understand exactly what's profitable and what's not. And work with skeleton staff, essentially, and that's where the challenge of Megaquarium comes into play. Throughout the 10-level campaign, though, I'll introduce you to the mechanics. Firstly, you'll start off by building tanks, and tanks can be different sizes and shapes depending on the fish and aquatic life that you want to put in it. Some fish will like hot water, some will like cold, some might need vegetation, some might need rocky outcroppings, some fish are scared and need to have caves to go and hide from the guests poking their faces splattered up against the walls. And they'll all have different requirements. And you'll need to then basically install the equipment for each tank as you go to make sure that the fish are kept in the habitat that they need to be able to survive. So you might need heating equipment, chilling equipment, filtering equipment, stuff to kind of put in algae so that there's like life in the tank to keep them going. You might also have a mixture of different fish as well, and they don't get on. So some might bully other fish, some might eat other fish. Then you've kind of got scavengers like starfish and things like that that don't get fed automatically, but will need other fish in the pond so that they can be fed like off the scraps of other people. And they might contribute some extra dynamics to the tanks and wildlife areas themselves. As you go along, you'll get really into grips with how each fish works and how to start spreading them out in terms of type, personality, hot and cold water, that kind of thing. Some might need lighting as well, particularly the corals, where they need a certain amount of light to grow and flourish, otherwise they die. Dead fish do not attract guests, unless they're obsessed with taxidermy maybe, I'm not sure. But as the guests visit, you'll be getting reputation points based on how healthy the fish are, what the decorations are in the ponds, and like the flow of guest movement around the aquarium that you build. And the facilities that you have as well, because you'll need to install toilets, drink machines, and that kind of stuff. And those reputation points, as well as science points for people learning and understanding more about the fish as they go round, will unlock more species, more different types of tanks, more facilities as you go along. You'll need to hit certain reputation points though to then unlock the next level of the game or complete different campaign objectives, and they almost always involve levelling up like say 1,000 different reputation points, so that you can then get the next layer on tier of fish, facilities, ponds, equipment, staff traits, for you to then kind of play the next level of the game as you go along. And I really enjoyed how the campaign kind of drip fed all of the different mechanics out, because you learn new things, integrate it into how you'd want to design stuff. But particularly if you're playing on easy or normal level difficulty, you've got the time and patience to just be able to be like, okay, I can redesign things this way and that way, and it's not going to kind of ruin your bank balance, because you can really get to grips with all of the different features as it goes along. The staff have their own personalities as well, so assigning the right type of tasks for their personality is really interesting, and needing to level up their skills as they go along. I completely overlooked this initially, and when I was asking staff members to give talks about the different types of fish environments, I didn't realise that their charisma skill necessarily was involved in making sure whether that talk was good or not. So I was getting lots of negative reputation points because I kept putting the most boring person on to speak. And you can really go down into the nitty-gritty of zoning out staff, letting them only do certain tasks and like turning them on and off so that they can be really efficient as they go along. And when you're playing in the later difficulties, that is where Megaquarium really comes to life, because I wouldn't say it's entry level in terms of its level of depth, because there's a lot there, but it's so well done the way how Megaquarium kind of just drops these different mechanics in, and they're very do this to do that, job done. And then if you've got lots of management, it's about just efficiencies. You're not going to be like overburdened with really complex stuff as you go along. The controls for the PS4 version also work really well, because I think sometimes with Tycoon games and anything which is hugely like, you can see that it was built for mouse first because it's a PC game first. Sometimes console stuff can struggle with this. The menus work really well though, so you just hit the direction buttons for different menus down the side as you go along and kind of filter across. It does mean that you'll have a couple of clicks to get where you want. The only kind of issue that I have with some of the menus and the UI is that sometimes it starts to get too big and overlap over too much of the screen sometimes, and there's a bit of confusion that may be sorted with a day one patch, particularly around when you're trading with other aquariums, different fish, and you've completed like mini tasks. The menus kind of get stuck to each other, so you're trying to do something else for your mail where it said, oh, so and so's leveled up, or so and so fish has grown, and then when you try and click away, it drops you into the trade menu, and you need to sort out the trade or get out of the menu altogether and then go back in again, and it was a bit clunky. The other thing that I came across, which may also be fixed with a day one patch and I'm not sure, is that there's a really weird sound bug with Megaquarium, and it seems to be involved when people go to the toilet. It makes the almightiest crash sound that makes you jump out of your skin, because it's like a huge glitchy like for about 5 seconds and then it will go away. But it really stands out because the rest of the sound is beautiful, mellow, chilled out, just like in the background, you know, that kind of like, it's got a rhythm and a melody, but not enough to kind of take over your brain and get annoying. It's just there tinkling away in the background. So yeah, hopefully that'll get sorted soon, because in the end it kept making me jump where I was playing this late at night and I had to put it on mute. However though, aside from that, this game is an absolute joy to play. There are loads of different species to unlock as you go through the campaign mode. Essentially, once you've dealt with all of that, the fun then comes with the Sandbox Mode, where you can really expand out the size of what you're doing with your aquarium, and enjoy the random challenge generator that comes with it as well. So even with Sandbox Mode, you can, although you're left to your own devices, you can put in random stuff in there if you want to, as well as customizing like things like how you're going to paint things out, how many different types of wildlife you can have in there, that kind of stuff as you go along. So really, really intriguing and interesting. I also really liked the way how the reputation mechanic is implemented into Megaquarium. So it's less about trying to grind away at stuff. It's more about trying to put as much impact into your aquarium in the smallest space possible. So as guests walk around, they'll give you reputation points based on like, oh, I like that decoration, that fish, that tank. The sodas are quite nice and not too cheap. So is the guest book, that kind of stuff. But as you go through the day, those reputation points only last for a certain period of time. So the way how you level up is that these reputation points have to keep on going at like an average rate. So they'll kind of blast up again, and then towards the end of the day they might take a little bit of a dip because like guests are going home or a wave of new guests haven't arrived for a little while. So you really need to kind of work out, how can I be really, really succinct and close together and use the space that I've got? Because otherwise, if you just spread everyone out everywhere, they go nuts and will wander everywhere, and they won't be looking at exhibits to therefore give you the reputation points to then let you progress. So that was kind of like a hidden kind of aha moment that I had like halfway through the campaign mode, where I was like, that's how you run it. The other thing I really liked as well, and it's kind of a unique challenge actually to this type of game, was that you have to build all of the apparatus and all of the staff stuff behind the scenes. Otherwise the visitors get angry that they can see all of the goings on. They want the magic of being able to just see the fish in their habitat without being burdened by seeing a giant chiller or heater behind the scenes, or staff smashing and fixing stuff up. So yeah, that kind of really appealed to the design aspect of me. And so when I was playing around, particularly in Sandbox Mode, I was enjoying being creative in how I would want something to go in. So I'd like put all of the interesting stuff in the middle, and like pumps and stuff to try and hide away all of the gubbins behind the scenes, so that there could almost be like a giant like semicircle of just all of the ponds, and then like arrows to try and point people around so that they could constantly see stuff. Yeah, loved it. This is the perfect entry level Tycoon game for anyone that's interested in these types of games but don't want to get bogged down in ridiculous levels of depth and detail, because it's there for you to get your teeth stuck into if you want it, but you can just sit there and be like, do you know what, I can enjoy X, Y and Z, and that's just fine. Thoroughly enjoy this game. 2 thumbs up. I would have probably rebought this on PS4 had the developer not given me a code for a review, and I think that says volumes if you're prepared to multi-buy because you enjoy something so much. So yeah, go get Fishy. Take care. If you've got any comments or suggestions, please leave them down below, or any questions about the game, and I'll be very happy to answer them. There will be a written review of this game over on higherplanegames.com over the weekend, but the short skinny of this one is go buy. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a collection of media projects ran by me. If you like what you see and want to find out more, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support can make so much more possible, be that a like, a comment, a share, or a pledge. Thanks for watching.